How's it going? This is Hoiman, and today we're taking a look at the S.H.Figuarts Cure Whip figure. So again, this continues the downhill trend of the Precure figures, and the fact that even the main character is now web exclusive figure. So she is very pricey, but you still get the window to see the figure inside. And then at the top you have pictures, same for the sides. Legal stuff for the bottom, and then the back you have various pictures of the figure. To open the box, just lift open the side flap, and then you just lift open the front cover, and there's the figure all together with her accessories. So first you do get some instructions showing what the figure comes with and how to operate the accessories. So here's the actual figure, and I think overall this is a nice figure, but I do have some gripes with the figure, and one major gripe, which I'm sure you can already tell what it is. But in terms of the sculpt, I feel that they did a really good job with the sculpt. Looks very nice, looks very accurate to the character, and then all the really small and complex details that you'd expect are present as well. So looking at the face, I feel that they captured the likeness of the character really well. Looks just like her, and then you move on to a really big pink hair, which is probably the most eye-catching piece. So you have nicely sculpted fringes for the front, and it wraps around her face as well, which is nice. And you can see all the different strands as well. And there isn't really a whole lot of paintwork on this figure. Like, the hair is mainly just a matte pink finish, and there are slight darker shades here and there, but if you compare it to the Go Princess Precure, I mentioned that those figures have a lot of paintwork on them, but with the Kirakira Precure figures, they kind of tone down the paintwork a lot, so it's mainly just a lot of matte finishes and bold colours, which I suppose works in a way as well. But continuing to the hair, these large pigtails are hollow, so it makes the figure a lot lighter in the back, and it doesn't really weigh down the figure too much, which is a good thing. But there are still some seam lines that you can see that go across, and it can look a bit distracting, but isn't super noticeable. But they are nicely sculpted. You can see the strands of hair and the layers as well. And then you have the little cake on her head, which is really nicely sculpted and detailed. You move on to her ears. They are hollow as well, so it doesn't really weigh down the figure too much, and they are nicely sculpted. And then moving down to her actual outfit, really nicely sculpted. The strawberry is a nice glossy finish. Same for the pouch here. And then the rest of the outfit is a nice matte finish. And then you have all the cream layers for the skirt, and then the zigzag lines for the bottom layer. And for the most part, it's very nice and clean in terms of the paintwork. And then moving down to her shoes, again, nicely sculpted and detailed. And then the paintwork is very nice and clean for the most part. And then down on the skirt, you can see all the different layers, and the skirt, again, very nicely sculpted. So before I get to the articulation, I just want to bring up my main gripe with the figure. And just like I said with the Go Princess Precure figures, Bandai continues to make the Precure figures have really thin wrist joints, and therefore I accidentally broke off Cure Whip's hand. And again, I didn't really do anything dramatic. I was mainly just trying to swap out a hand, you know, just like how these hands usually function. And it just broke on me. So even with just regular changing the hands, they can break on you. So I feel that Bandai has really got to fix this issue with these newer Precure figures, because the older Precure figures never had a problem with their wrist joints, but with these newer figures, the wrist joint is just super thin that it's just not durable at all. So I feel that instead of ball joints, maybe they can replace it with pegs, so that way you can swap out the hands a lot easier. But as of now, the wrists are still really delicate. They do use ball joints, and that makes it difficult to swap hands, and that puts a lot of pressure when you swap out the hands. So I do feel that Bandai has really got to resolve that issue with the future Precure figures. But moving on to articulation, the neck is on a single ball joint, so she can look down about that much, look up that much. She can tilt her head side to side as well as twist, and then each ear is on a ball joint, so you can move those about however you want. And then each pigtail of the hair is also on a ball joint, so you can move them back and forth side to side, and you can twist them as well. And then for the shoulders, it's on quite a long ball joint that connects to the torso, so you do get quite a lot of range from moving it about. And it's also on a hinge, so you can bring your arm out to the side. And the sleeve is a solid piece, but it kind of gets out of the way, so it doesn't really restrict articulation too much. And then you can bring your arm forward as well as back. And then she does have the bicep swivel as well as a single jointed elbow. And then like I already said, she has the really thin ball joints for the wrist. For the torso, it's on a single ball joint, so she can lean forward about that much, lean back that much, lean side to side as well as twist. And the skirt itself is a solid piece, but it's sculpted in a way to allow for articulation. So the waist is on a ball joint, so you can move her legs about however you want. You can also twist them. And then each leg is on a ball joint, so she can kick about that far to the side, kick forward that much, and then kick back that much. She has the thigh swivel, and then a single jointed knee. And then she has the ball jointed ankle, so you can go back that much, forward that much, lean side to side as well as twist. So for the most part, she does have all the articulation you'd expect the Figuarts figure to have. And because of some engineering in the sculpt here and there, she does have quite a bit of range, so you should be able to get all the poses that you want this figure to do. That's the figure. Let's take a look at the accessories. For faces, she comes with a default smiling face, an open mouth happy face, an eye winking face, and a shouting face. For hands, she comes with a pair of open palmed hands, and then a rack of various hands. So you have a pair of fists, 2 chopping hands, 2 posing styled hands, 2 more posing styled hands, but one of them has the item in her hand, and then 2 hands to hold her accessories. She comes with a perfume box, nicely sculpted and detailed. She also comes with a main weapon, again nicely sculpted and detailed. Nice use of the translucent parts. And then she also comes with a fairy, again nicely detailed and sculpted. And then the head is on a ball joint, so you can move it about. And then she also comes with a display base, which is pretty much necessary for this figure. And then she comes with a display base for the fairy as well. And this part connects to the hole in her back. But I do feel it is quite delicate attaching and disconnecting, because the frame is quite delicate, so you just have to be careful of that. She also comes with this extra base, and that is to use with this accessory. So you just open it up. So this is what's inside, and basically what this is to display the cake attack. So this part just plugs into the base here, and then you just stand it up like so. And basically what Bandai did is that each Kirakira Precure figure comes with their own separate section of the cake, which is just basically a translucent piece with an image of the cake. And then what you do is you just slide it into the slot here like so. And then what it's supposed to do is that as you get the rest of the figures, you can attach the rest of the cakes so you can display their cake attack together. So it's pretty cool that they are including this sort of Build-A-Figure accessory with these line of figures. So my final thoughts are, overall this figure is good. The sculpt is really nice, and then the articulation is pretty good as well. And she does come with some good range of accessories, but I think overall the figure just doesn't really feel that sturdy. Like, I know it was nice to hollow out the hair and the ears, but I don't know, it just makes, like, not just the head or the hair, but the whole figure just feels really fragile and brittle. And even just holding her, it just feels like she's gonna break on you. So although Bandai has improved the sculpt and detail in these newer Precure figures, the quality control does still seem to be all over the place. Like, she just feels really fragile, feels like she's gonna break on you anytime, which she unfortunately did. Some joints are still relatively loose, like the shoulder joints. The head joint is quite loose and it tends to pop off really easily. The waist joint is relatively loose as well, and I don't know, overall she just feels really fragile and just makes you, well, makes me really afraid to kind of play around with her really. But from a visual standpoint, she does look really nice. The paintwork is very nice and clean, and all the detail you'd expect is present, but durability wise, she just feels really fragile than usual. And because she is a web exclusive figure, she is really expensive, and because she's a newer range of figures as well, the price of her has risen very dramatically over the older Precure figures, and that's gonna be a common thing with the rest of the Kirakira Precure figures. But if you're like a huge fan of this character or this series, then I do recommend getting this figure, but just be aware that you most likely have to pay for a very heavy price, and for the amount of money you have to pay, just keep in mind that she's not the most durable figure out there. But that's my review. Thanks for watching and enjoy some pictures.